Senior Day is tomorrow at North Dakota State. The Lance family is going to experience it for the first time. Plus, Hillcrest goes for a state championship in Minneapolis tomorrow. A Football Friday of Hot Mic starts now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota. Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning! Back in high school, apparently. Welcome to we're finally reached the day edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning everybody in Sioux Falls, KMBN in western South Dakota, and Inforum.com. Finally, Friday, November the 21. Boy, it's beautiful outside. Enjoy it, because it's turning the other way by Thanksgiving next week, which, you know what, we're living on borrowed time. We haven't got any snow yet. Let's go. Come on. It's been great. It's been a dynamite fall. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the day. It is a big one for those that live on the Minnesota side of the river. I think actually for quite a few that live on the North Dakota side of the river. They're excited about the football game, not just tonight, but coming up here in an hour. Breckenridge is playing at 10 o'clock in the Class A championship. It's Prep Bowl Friday. It's weird because it's a week earlier. This is traditionally the semifinal weekend. But in Prep Bowl is normally the day after Thanksgiving. It's always been the case with that. In fact, a couple years ago, when the Vikings were playing on Thanksgiving night, they had to move it another week later into the first week of December. So we're actually earlier than normal, but it is today. There are 4 games at U.S. Bank Stadium at 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4, and, of course, the Spuds play tonight at 7, and then 3 more coming up tomorrow at 10, 1, and 4. And that will do it for high school football in our area for 2025 with 3 local teams playing for championships. You've heard from 2 of them this week. The third will join us on the show today in anticipation of their game tomorrow. That's coming up later on. And I just get a sense, and I'm entirely way too close to it. We've followed, obviously, Moorhead's entire run here, going back to the first game of the season. As many of you know, I live in Moorhead. My wife teaches at Moorhead High. She's taught at least 30 to 40 guys that play on this football team. My son is in the school district. They're getting out early today. Actually, the team is coming by his school today, which is really cool. I know he was excited about that. I got to go get the Spuddy that he drew. We got to put that down here in the studio. So it's, as I mentioned with Kevin yesterday, and I got a lot of nice comments about our interview with Kevin Feeney yesterday. And if you missed it, you go back and check that out. That Moorhead is the biggest small school that I know of. And you can just debate, they opened the new school here. It was 2 years ago. I really remember. My wife was moving her classroom from the old school to the new school right during Christmas break. But, and the overtures of that, obviously, if they wanted to build a second one and they weren't going to mess with hockey. And I've taken some flack this week for the comments I mentioned about this being bigger if they are to win tonight than what they did in March. And we covered that. And heck, I went down to 3 separate state hockey tournament championship games. And our guy Riley Swenson is going down. He's covering everything. And as also a graduate of Moorhead, I know he's invested in this, and we were debating this, and it was a good debate on, well, tell me when U.S. Bank Stadium gets 20,000 for football like the X does. And that's a fair point, because it won't. I mean, it'll be empty in there tonight, even for the big school game, even though I think Moorhead is going to have a ton of people there. It is not what the XL Energy Center gets for its for the state hockey tournament, which is whatever, 18,000 for every AA session. It routinely gets national attention on that. And to wit, I would say, okay, I would come back at you and say, I don't remember them ever letting school out early for hockey. I know they did fan buses, but the fact, and it's not just the high school, the school district is closing up shop today at 12:30. So you're going to tell me that happened at Devil's Lake? Last week they didn't even have school, right? I know Botno last week. I mean, those are smaller schools than what Moorhead's doing. That, to me, proves exactly why this may be an even bigger deal. And the amount of people I've heard that are going to head down to the game echoes that as well. So let's dive into this here. This is round 2 between these two teams. Moorhead beat Edina back in October. 51-44 was the final game of the regular season. That was the first game that Jet Feeney came back after breaking his scapula that happened in week 2 against Woodbury. And each of these teams are led by electric quarterbacks. Feeney is, I think, now regarded as the best quarterback in the state, and there's no argument to that. Now, Edina's back in this game 2 years removed from falling in 2023. We heard from their coach earlier in the week. They lost to Centennial by 1 point in 2023. And this is almost the same team with Mason West at quarterback. Chase Bjorgard, who is the goaltender for the Edina hockey team, is their running back. And those guys went nuts against the Spuds in the first matchup that they had this season. Bjorgard, to his credit, 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. And you see, this is from Edina's game against Minnetonka last Thursday in the semifinals. Was just brilliant. They were down 28-7 in this game and came back and held off a furious Minnetonka rally to win 42-41. I mean, you've got stars all up and down. You saw David Mack. And again, West can move too. Again, he was drafted in the first round of the National Hockey League draft last July. It just has everything shaping up for what could be a fantastic game. Now, I know we were joking with Kevin yesterday on the show, like, well, it's probably, are we getting another, 50-49 game? And sometimes the second one doesn't equal that. I personally, nobody's been able to stop Moorhead. The fact Lakeville South, so okay, Lakeville South did. They only got, the Spuds killed themselves last week. They turned it over a couple of times that they easily could have reached 35, 40 points. When you look at the scores this year, even when Austin Dryburgh was in a quarterback, in Wayzata, they scored some points. St. Michael Albertville, they got stomach, and then Maple Grove did what they did. Moorhead has been able to score on nearly everybody this season. Look at when Feeney's come back, right? They scored 51 against Edina. Then I think 38 against Blaine. They routed Woodbury. They got to 40 on Centennial. Obviously, the 26 on Lakeville South. I mean, that's no one's been able to stop them. Now, on the flip side, Edina has been riding a wave here of late victories. We mentioned they won by 1 over Minnetonka. They edged out Forest Lake in a late game. They edged out Eden Prairie. Those are their 3 wins that got them to US Bank Stadium. I think they've won their 3 games by a combined 4 points. There's something to be said about that. We talk about it all the time in college football when we discuss it, about either winning ugly or making plays at the end. South Dakota's lived that way, frankly, over their last month and a half of games. That's what Edina's done here this entire time. Edina beat Minnetonka by 1. They beat Eden Prairie by 2, and they beat Forest Lake in overtime by 1. So if I'm not a great math mind, that's 4 points that they've won their last 3 games. And not that you need any reminder, but this side of football, the Western Suburban Division, when we heard that Moorhead was going to get placed in it, we talked with Dean Haugo, Moorhead's AD, about this, and with Kevin last spring when the overtures were, hey, it's going to happen. Moorhead's going to move up to 6A, and they were hopeful they'd get put in the Northern Division. They didn't. They got put in the SEC of 6A football. And frankly, that helped them out because now they played the hardest schedule you can play in the regular season. And to this point, no one has ever in this format made the final as a 6 seed. And you can say, well, there's no way they're a 6 seed considering their quarterback was gone for as much as they were. That, honestly, got them in this position where they're going to be. Couple of players to watch, though. You got the obvious ones. We mentioned Jet Feeney. Tay Rich should not go unnoticed here. Moorhead running back is fantastic, who's got a bunch of offers, including Kansas State, including Iowa State, including the University of Minnesota. That's one. David Mack goes without saying. Zach Walker is another guy. You just saw him in the highlights of the game against Lakeville South, number 9. He's got an offer from North Dakota State. Blazing guy. I think there's going to be more heat on him once the season is done, depending even how it goes tonight. Those are the guys on Moorhead's roster. Edina has West. Bjorgard's really good. Sawyer Jezerski is another guy. And this is Kevin was referring to yesterday, that the Bison offered. He ended up verbally committing to Iowa. He's going to sign with the Hawkeyes early next month on National Signing Day. That guy is a load up front who plays both sides for the Hornets. That's another guy to keep your eyes on. So when you're watching the game tonight, those are the players to watch. Now, before we move on, and I should have had this loaded up before we started the show, because I put this out on social media last night, and Maddie's going to put it out as well today on our Facebook page and Twitter page and all that kind of good stuff for people trying to find the game, because I've already got 2 emails on this. So here's the deal. So the games are exclusively on KSTC out of the Twin Cities. They have the rights. It's produced by KSTP, the ABC affiliate in Minneapolis. We are friends with those guys. They're great. They've had forever the exclusive rights to it. And as far as I understand it, for as long as I can remember, KVR here in town locally has had the rights to the Minnesota State Tournament, something we tried to get, but we couldn't do it. And they have elected to put them on their alternate channel, which is called Antenna TV. If you're watching Hot Mike today over the air, we're on 6-3. So if you want to watch over the air with the antenna, it's on 15-2 tonight if you're doing that. Now, if you were watching us on Midco right now, you can find the Breck game coming up here in about 50 minutes. That's on Channel 595, and that's where you'll find the Spuds and Hillcrest game. On Sparklight, it's on Channel 41. And for those of you that have DirecTV and Dish Network, it's not available there. You can stream it. Everything is streamed on their website on KSTP.com. It's also on their app. And I know people will be happy to hear this news that it's free. That's their business model. That's not ours. I'm not going to even go down that road. I don't know what they do. It's different than ours. But that's how you can watch the games, and we'll have some frequent reminders here throughout the rest of our show and, again, on our social media channels, because I know we're going to get a bunch of calls about it, especially tonight, to watch the Spuds game later on. But that's how you can watch it. The one caveat I'll say, if you're trying to watch it on over the air on TV, it's in standard def. I don't believe they have a receiver that's a high-def receiver, so when you watch it, it's going to have the bars on it. It's going to look like it's from 1975, quite frankly. So, but beggars can't be choosers. If you want to watch the game, that's how you can do it. So I wanted to throw that out there just before we got too far down the line, because I already got one email before the show even started asking me about it. And like, all right, well, we got this information, so we'll pass it along. So there's that. Last thing before we get going, there was a football game last night to start the new week of NFL play. The Buffalo Bills cannot get out of their own way. If this division in the AFC East is ripe for the Patriots to win this thing. Last night they were facing the Houston Texans. I'm not sure what the Texans were wearing last night, by the way. They saw James Cook score a touchdown to take an early lead. Davis Mills was playing quarterback for the Texans, and C.J. Stroud missed another game. Was really good. Here Josh Allen had a rough night. I can only say this as on my Hot Mike fantasy team and sinking like a stone because he was bad last night. This is picked off. They got a block in the back, so they take the touchdown off the board. They get a field goal out of that. Does Houston lead it 13-9. On the ensuing kickoff, Ray Davis has got a head of steam, bounces off a guy, and look out, made one move, and he's gone. 97-yard kickoff return touchdown. The Bills can't do anything offensively and lead the game 16-13. Texans come right back before the break. Mills, it's Jaden Higgins on a touchdown. It's 20-16 Houston at halftime. Teams trade some field goals here. It's 23-16. Again, Bills get stuffed on 4th and 1. You can read Josh Allen's lips here with the old, "What are we doing?" which is always my favorite go-to. Same score in the fourth quarter. Little swing pass to Khalil Shakur makes a couple of nifty moves. He gets down the sidelines. Bills, though, can't capitalize. They kick a field goal. So it's 23-19. That's the score. Now in the fourth quarter, Allen was doing this all night. He just got completely blown up. Sack there. The Texans had 8 sacks last night. On 4th and 27, this might be one of the plays of the year. The old hook and ladder works to perfection for the Bills. Somehow, that stat is going to be amazing. Yeah, they picked up a 4th and 27 earlier in the year. So the Bills are still in business here, as Shakur was on the other end of that to get again. They need a touchdown. They can't kick a field goal. It's 4th down again. Allen throws this one, and it's intercepted. His second pick of the night. And the Texans are over 500. They beat the Bills 23-19. Buffalo is now 7-4. And yeah, it's great they beat Kansas City, but right now, the Bills are going on the road in the opening round of the playoffs. Right now, the Bills are the 6th seed in the AFC. The Texans got some work to do here because they trail Jacksonville in their own division. Of course, the Colts are running away with the AFC South. 8 sacks last night for Houston. And a big win to start the new week of NFL football. Week 12 is underway. Of course, we're less than a week out from Thanksgiving games with 3 to go there with Fox, CBS, and NBC, and then the Black Friday game a week from today on Amazon. We got a great Friday lineup here for us here to wrap up the week. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up in just a few minutes, one of my favorite people, Angie Lance, will join us. That is Trey and Bryce's mom. They did not get to experience a Bison Senior Day, of course, when Trey decided to go to the NFL draft. They will get one with Bryce tomorrow. We'll visit with Angie coming up at 9:35. Excited about that conversation. At 10 o'clock, Korey Fry will join us, the head coach of Hillcrest Lutheran. The Comets will play tomorrow for the 9-man championship at U.S. Bank Stadium. We'll check in with them as they get set for their trip down to Minneapolis. And a special appearance at 10:35 by my sister, Stephanie. My dad is unavailable today, so Steph filled in last year. I think she was okay. She'll have the chore of doing the NFL picks today to wrap up the week. So we got that coming up. That'll be fun at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Friday. We come back, you'll hear from Glenn Caruso, head coach at the University of St. Thomas. The Tommies are coming to Fargo tomorrow. We'll hear from him about the matchup with the Bison. That's coming up as our Football Friday show is underway. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. You're looking live out in Bismarck as Day 2 of the North Dakota State Volleyball Tournament is underway. This is the first semifinal in Class B between Medina, Pingree, Buchanan, and our Redeemers out of Minot. 6-seeded our Redeemers got an upset there in that first day. This is live on WDAY2 right now, so you can watch this while we're on. You can also stream the consolation matches going as well. Those are all available on WDAY Plus from the exhibit hall. So we got 6 consecutive semifinals. We got matches going from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on WDAY2. Long day for our crew out in Bismarck after a really long day yesterday with, what did we have? 4 matches. That's 12 of them yesterday. long enough day yesterday. So day 2 coming up, just underway out in Bismarck. We mentioned tomorrow, I've heard there's a football game happening in town. We had so much going on this week. We got our 3rd basketball game coming up tonight from the Shack that, North Dakota State is wrapping up the regular season tomorrow with the University of St. Thomas coming to town. The Tommies, in a game that was scheduled, I want to say 4 years ago, of course, wrapping up their first year of Division I postseason eligibility. They lost last week to Presbyterian in their Pioneer Football League finale. Had they won that and got some help from Dayton, St. Thomas would have won the automatic bid to the Pioneer Football League. As it is, they are at 7-4 and set to play tomorrow against the Bison. It's a mix of players that still have that were recruited to be a Division III team, even though they've been D1 now for the better part of 4 years. Of course, they're in the non-scholarship, and we know St. Thomas for how great they were in the MIAC. Dominated that division, so much so that Glenn Caruso's team got kicked out of the league because they were just running roughshod over the Cobbers, over everybody you can think of. They've had early success. They won a Pioneer Football League championship in 2022, but now they decided to up their schedule. And they're playing a host of teams in the Missouri Valley Football Conference over the next handful of years. They have already played Northern Iowa. They have already played South Dakota. Now they're really stepping up with North Dakota State. And they have a matchup next year. They'll go to Grand Forks to take on UND. I'm very jealous. They already signed an agreement for a few years from now. They're going to play Harvard, which I'm automatically jealous of that. They went to Harvard, I believe, last season. Our friends at KSDP, our guy Alec Osmus, we've had on the show several times, they were out of practice earlier this week. Had a chance to visit with Glenn Caruso about scheduling this game and the challenge of facing North Dakota State.
Well, I guess you haven't, but just playing in Fargo on the opposing team, I can't imagine you've done that, obviously, right?
No, not very much. Before we came here 20 years ago, we were at McAllister, and ended up agreeing when I was at McAllister to play St. Thomas, signed both sides of that contract and sent it back. But that was about the only time I've been on the opposing sideline. I guess that's not true. Also did the same when we were down at South Dakota, spent a couple of years down there, but 7 years at NDSU with a lot of great people, Bob Babich, Andy Rondo, some guys that are very close to today. Had a lot of fun, played a lot of football in that dome, and just excited to get back.
What does this weekend, this Saturday, what does this game mean? Just FCS level, North Dakota State's kind of the
Yes, absolutely they are. They're fantastic in every way. They're big, strong, fast, deep, confident, well-coached, disciplined. They present a lot similarly to like a good FBS team. And I think, as you've probably seen, there's a lot of FBS teams that just simply won't schedule them, So they're as good a football team as this university's ever played, probably by a lot. Tim does an awesome job up there. Long line of coaches who have had success at NDSU, and I think a lot of people feel like, well, it's because you're at NDSU. No, it's because NDSU has really good staffs and really good players for sure. But it's going to be everything we can handle and then some. They're pretty special.
Is that just any college such as St. Thomas that's new to the D1 level? Is that kind of what programs strive to be like? Do you kind of look at what NDSU does?
I think you've covered us long enough to know that we want to be ourselves and we want to be authentic, but we also want to be process based. And I'm not trying to be North Dakota State. That's not the goal. I'm trying to be a great version of St. Thomas. What I love about NDSU, when we first got there underneath the stadium at Old Dakota Field, which is where they used to play until 1993, you walk into a team room and it's an old rickety slanted ceiling team room, and it's got all of their bowl games on the wall going back to way before the Camilla Bowl in the 60s and going back to the 50s. What was most impressionable on me was the sustainability of excellence that they've had. And I'm a big believer that anybody can have a really good football team. I actually don't think it's that tough. I think it's extremely difficult to have a great football program, and the ladder insinuates longevity and staying power, and that program has done it. That town has supported it. We loved it while we were there. I'm not going to love it between 2:30 and 5:30 because there's going to be 19,006 people yelling at us, but, God bless it. It's a place that's very near and dear to our heart. It's where I met Rachel. It's where we started our family. That's where we got married. And so it'll be neat to be able to go back, but make no mistake, that team on the other side is as good as anyone will ever see in FCS. I think has a chance to be one of the great FCS teams of all time, and I've seen a lot of those teams win a lot of games, and I think this one might be the greatest version of their team that they've ever had.
What's this week like? It's kind of the finale, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah,
What's
right.
this week kind of like?
When we scheduled the game, we didn't know that we would get the reprieve to, we thought this was our last year of not being playoff eligible, right? So this was almost kind of like a bit of a bowl week or something like that. Certainly things have changed for the better for the University of St. Thomas and for our football program, but it is a bit odd having senior day and playing your last game, playing your last conference game. Other games are still going on, and yet you're going up to Fargo. So that's kind of unique. But look, we've been very comfortable being uncomfortable, and even though it's a little uncomfortable how things played out this week, it's not nearly as uncomfortable as the opponent will make anybody, and that's what our focus is on this week. And frankly, having one more week to spend with these guys, which we were able to honor those seniors. I love this team. I love what they've been able to accomplish. You look at their body of work, exceptional. They gave this university our very first Division I championship. They gave them undefeated conference championships and seasons, and being together is the greatest gift that we can receive this week.
And so there's a little bit, thanks to AA for making that happen for us. And we'll see. Obviously, Glenn knows full well about the Fargo Dome. One thing I'll object him to, there ain't going to be 19,000 there tomorrow, which is too bad because this senior class, which we're going to have more on that coming up in just a second, should be honored in the way of that because I wrote about it. I do it each year where I write a bit of a retrospective on the graduating class. This is a really interesting group that all committed. The guys that stay, there were 24 guys that signed in December of 2020 or February of 2021. Only 8 of them are still here. And there's a variety of reasons for that. We can get into that maybe later in the show. I know we're going to talk about it tomorrow on Bison Game Day. We'll break. Speaking of one of the guys that's going to be honored tomorrow is Bryce Lance. His mom, Angie, will join us when Hot Mike returns on this Friday morning. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Don't forget, of course, we've got Bison football tomorrow. Game day will be live at 10 a.m. on WDAY. We got another mom going to join us on the show tomorrow. Cole Payton's mom, Linda's going to join us. Excited about that. We'll have our bracketology, the pick'ems. The nickel will be in the house because Colpack and Kyle are battling for that. Be a fun show. It's my favorite Saturday of the year. We got the final day of the year. We've got senior day going on tomorrow. The selection show on Sunday. It's a packed day, of course, with the football game coming up tomorrow at 2:30. I mentioned senior day. For our next guest, they'll be experiencing it for the first time because obviously Trey Lance did not have a senior day, but Bryce certainly is. We're super pumped to have Angie Lance join us this morning. We'll say the brains of the Lance household here. We've done interviews from Marshall to Cleveland, everywhere. So I'm really pumped to have you on this morning. I was thinking of that though when I texted yesterday. You've had so many unique experiences. This is a new one that you're going to have tomorrow.
This is a new one, and it's one of the top on my list for sure that I hoped to have the experience to go through a senior day. So it's an exciting weekend for us.
All right, so I know Bryce keeps things pretty close to the chest. What about for you guys tomorrow? The tears going to flow tomorrow when he gets introduced?
That is a great question. I don't know. I think I'm just so happy for all of these kids that I'm sure. I mean, something came up earlier this week, and it kind of made me pause and step back. I was like, or my brother had sent we have a big family message group, and he had sent a message saying, those of you who can't be here, be sure you're watching number 5's last regular season game as a Bison. So I was like, oh yeah, this is happening for real. So
I found the photo you sent me the day that Bryce signed, and I wanted to go back. It seems like forever ago because it was 5 years ago. But how weird a time it was. What do you remember about Bryce's recruitment? And then when he said, "Mom, I'm going to go to NDSU." Can you take us back to that?
yeah, I can. I was thinking about that this morning, actually. You're right. That COVID stuff really had these kids working through an unusual recruiting process. There were no visits. Um, Thankfully, Bryce had been on campus at NDSU quite a bit, but he had other schools he was considering that he didn't get to. I mean, there were a couple on the East Coast that at one point they said, you can come out and visit. So, but they were such unusual visits, not a lot of guys on campus. And so I definitely remember him going through the process, but it being a lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Wherever we were, it seemed like, I know we were with my parents one time at the lake, and we were back in their office doing a Zoom call with a coach from another school, and so it was just a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of researching. Um, Bryce probably was hesitant about NDSU simply because Trey was here, and it's not, it's good and bad.
Yeah.
Even in high school, there's just things that are different about being Trey Lance's little brother at some time. So did I think he would choose NDSU? I did, but I knew he was going to have to come to the decision that he was going to be okay being Trey Lance's brother. And he is Trey Lance's brother, and he is referred to as Trey Lance's brother, and that rolls right off his. I mean, so I appreciate. I hear some people defending it sometimes, but don't worry. Bryce knows who he is. He doesn't mind being Trey Lance's little brother. Pretty proud of it, and it doesn't bother him a bit. So yeah. Then that decision was made, and the reason the decision was made was for lots of things. Obviously, he loved the staff. But it's a lot of football stuff that I don't get into. That Trey, Carl, and Bryce had conversations about what fits him best football wise, and that had to be a really big part of the decision. And so I know that was something that they talked about and had a spreadsheet and what offenses they run and all this stuff. And so that was a big part of the decision. And then finally, one of the columns on the spreadsheet was always. And we did this for Trey also, was always, what kind of community support is there?
Yep.
Do you go to a game and there's half the stands are full, or is everybody behind you? And that makes a big difference to these kids when they're making a decision. And they, obviously Bryce didn't have a chance to visit, but he had been here enough to see there was a lot of community support. And it's a lot of fun to play in front of a crowd versus us. We've been at games.
You're right.
As fans, NDSU fans. And NDSU has more fans at away games sometimes than the home team. So that was a big part of that was a column on the spreadsheet also.
I remember seeing Bryce and Carlton at a practice, one of Trey's last practices of Bison. And I went over and I'm like, well, what do you think? Because I know he hadn't made his mind up. He kind of half grinned at me and goes, be hard to say no to this place. And obviously it ended up coming about. And you made the point about Bryce not shying away from being Trey's younger brother. And I asked him about that. He's so comfortable about that. And I actually, when I saw Trey in Frisco, I'm like, all right, you're now Bryce's older brother. That's how, after the year he had. But I know we talked with you and Carlton last year about if this was going to work out. And can you share a little bit more about this? Because the first 3 years, it wasn't what the last 2 years have been like. What did Bryce share about if maybe this isn't the spot?
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I mean, he has faced more than his share of challenges, I would say. Watching him, the way he stayed committed to this, I definitely didn't know where we were headed after that third year. And the coaching change, and what does that mean? And what are you going to do? I mean, I would say that he wasn't ready to make a change at that time. He really believed in himself. Number one, he knew what he was doing at practice. He knew that he was competing. He believed in himself, and he just really saw a way here after that third year. So it was definitely challenging because he, like I said, he knew who he was. He believed he was competing well in practice, or he knew he was competing well in practice, but just wasn't getting that opportunity for whatever reason. So it was a big decision, but clearly it turned out to be the right one.
When Coach Polisic came in, and I know Tim talked to me about Bryce is going to be our guy. We're going to wrap our arms around him. He's going to be the man. Did Bryce relay any of that to you guys? Like, hey, Coach Polisic believes in me. Like, the things might be different. Do you remember any conversations like that?
All of it.
Yeah.
We have like a lot of families, a family group text message that is active all day, every day. But, after practice each day, we always ask both the guys, tell us about practice. How was your day? Blah, blah, blah. And Bryce would just be coming back with these, well, Coach Polisic pulled me aside and said this, and I'm doing this in practice, and I did that. And he built his confidence, which may have been, something that really needed after, sitting on the sidelines for a few years. But he was very clear with Bryce what he saw in him from the first day, and that he was going to have a real opportunity here, and he needed to start acting like it.
To see what's happened, Angie, over the last 18 to 20 months with Bryce, just I know how immensely proud you are of what Trey did, but how is this even, I don't know, more gratifying what's gone on because of how the first 3 years went down?
So it's been, first of all, an absolute privilege. The word pride, I never use that word when I'm talking about my boys because it implies that I did something to me, and I had nothing to do with what Bryce has done here, other than he knows we're always, behind him 100%. But it has been an absolute privilege to go through this process, facing his challenges and just being a part of the journey with him. And yes, I definitely feel strongly that what he has overcome here means far more than what Trey went through. I mean, Trey, obviously, I'm extremely thrilled for him. It was a privilege and an honor to go through that. But watching the two and their different challenges, Bryce had to overcome really a lot and be very determined. And the difference really here is for Bryce were the people who believe in him. His coaches, his teammates lifted him up along the way. And those are the lessons that really shape him. And so I think, he's a better person for all of it.
What do we know the rough estimate of Lance family members are going to be in the crowd tomorrow? Do you have a count? Do you know for tomorrow?
Well, we had a huge group last week from Colorado mostly, and then that was Carl's side of the family, and this week is my side of family. It's not huge. We have my sister's got a hockey player, and they're all busy with that, all of that, and so I think there's probably 10 of them coming. So that's the other thing is he's just. It'll be a weekend of a celebration of people that have walked with Bryce along the way. Like I said, we celebrated it last weekend, and we'll celebrate him again tomorrow.
Oh, I think we just lost her. Well, hopefully we'll get it back here. There we go. It's coming back. Because it's a great weekend. There we go. We got you. We're good.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good. No worries.
So anyway, yes, we're gonna celebrate him this weekend with a lot of people who have supported him along the way, and it's gonna be a wonderful weekend.
So
Trey's here.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna mention that because the Chargers schedule worked out, so Trey's gonna be here as well this weekend.
Yeah, that which is so cool for that to have worked out on senior weekend. It's awesome.
That's fantastic. I gotta ask, just tomorrow to hear the crowd going to go nuts for your son? Just, and you've heard this before, which is such a odd thing to ask. But what do you think emotion is going to when they hear his name over the loudspeaker? He comes out. What's that emotion going to be like? You think?
Yeah, just even thinking about that moment, and like I said, knowing all the challenges he's overcome, and those teammates that have been his, held him up. Those other seniors' names getting called, and just thinking back to the weekend that they all arrived here. Some have joined along the way, but that weekend that they all arrived here and taken a look in their eyes, and they were all COVID kids, and now here they are, grown-ups, and have had just an incredible experience here, and have stuck through a lot of hard things. And one other funny story that I'll remember is, they do this thing in fall ball called patterns. I don't really understand it, but it's a lot of running, and it's really hard. And Bryce sent a text after his last day of patterns and at fall camp, last day of patterns ever. So there have been little celebrations along the way too, but I would expect tomorrow to be a pretty emotional day for sure. Just like I said, not just Bryce, but all those that have been alongside him through this whole journey. And this is really hard. I mean, I don't think people realize how hard it is to play college football. The sacrifice, the commitment, physical, mental, school. This is really hard. And I know you guys will fight through all of the, are we moving up, all of that stuff. And I know people get bored and they leave at halftime. These kids are not sick of winning.
Yeah.
They've only been here 4, maybe 5, Raja a little longer years. And they're not sick of winning. So I know people get bored and they read the headline, oh yeah, the Bison win again. The kids aren't sick of it. Trust me, because it's really hard. And if they can go out and have some fun on Saturday, and that's what I really hope to see on Saturday, honestly. I just hope they can just enjoy the moment. They have to play well. I saw St. Thomas say they have everything to lose and we have nothing to lose. So they need to show up and play well. And but I just hope they can enjoy the moment and have a lot of fun. And Fun Police, if they give the first down signal or they celebrate a little much, I don't want any penalties, but just give them a minute and let them just have some fun.
This has been awesome. I really appreciate you doing this. I don't know if I know the answer to this. I've bugged you and Carl so much. Can you sit with each other? Does he need to be by himself during a game, or can you guys interact when either son is playing?
Yeah. Bison games are a little hard to like. He would probably prefer to sit. It just doesn't work that way with seating. But I know I know a lot about football because obviously I've watched a lot, but I don't ever yell, oh, that should have been this or that, or, because he has no patience for that. It drives him crazy. Even people in the stands who start hollering about this should have been that or penalty. It's hard. He's just so in the zone. I always say there's probably 2 people in the world he can watch football with, 3 people in the world he can watch football with, and I barely make the list. So I try to keep my mouth shut. We'll just put it that way.
Oh my goodness. This was awesome. I really appreciate you doing this. I know you got a bunch going on. Thanks so much. I will see you tomorrow at the game, and congratulations.
See you there. Appreciate you so much, Dom. Thank you so much for everything.
No problem. Angie Lance joining us. Of course, Trey and Bryce's mom. Bryce will be honored as part of the Senior Day celebration tomorrow. You'll see it live on WDAY. We hit the air at 2:20. I believe about 2:24 is when the Senior Day introductions are going to go. Awesome stuff there. That was great. All right, we'll wrap up our first hour. When we come back, big second hour coming. We'll head down to Fergus Falls. Hillcrest Lutheran getting ready for its 9-man game tomorrow at US Bank Stadium. It's coming up as our Football Friday show rolls on. We're back after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. That was great stuff with Angie Lance. Appreciate that. obviously, I've known the Lance family for the better part of 7-8 years. When Trey first announced he was coming here, which seems like eons ago, and they have gone through the ringer, especially here in town. And I encourage people, if they missed my story, I talked with them in January. We were down in Frisco, and they had gone and seen Trey play the day before the national championship, as Trey was starting for Dallas that day against Washington, and what was his final game with the Cowboys for leaving, and then obviously signing with the Chargers. And I asked them about the reaction that the crowd gave Trey that night of the Dakota Marker game last October, which frankly Carlton got emotional, teared up on that, knowing full well what happened the last time Trey Lance played a football game in Fargo in October of 2020. Much different scenario there. That meant a lot to them. And what they have seen with their youngest son, which, it's one of the most meteoric rises we've seen in the Division I era for the Bison, for a guy that had one career catch in 3 years to now become the top NFL-rated prospect in FCS football is amazing. It just, there's no other word to use for it. It's just incredible. And can't wait to see. He was unstoppable in the playoffs last year. I mean, he had touchdowns in every game, multiple touchdowns in 3 of the games, including 3 in the national semifinals against the Jacks. I got a feeling you're going to see a whole lot of number 5 over the next month. Before we break, I mentioned this earlier, how big it is in Moorhead these days, right, with the Spuds playing tonight for the state championship. Their standout running back, Tay Rich, actually designed a Spuddy for kids to color. My son got one, and my wife actually did one as well. This is what it looks like for you on the podcast. It is literally the Spud doing the Heisman pose. Tay Rich designed these, folks. This is fantastic. So Courtney did this one. The Jackman also did one as well. It's fantastic. I am appealing right now to Dean Haugo, Kevin Feeney. This should be on the alternate helmet now. Make this happen for next year. This is fantastic. This is awesome. I want it on a sweatshirt now. Make this happen on the helmets next year. We got they had the skating Spud on the alternate, like the Moorhead youth hockey jerseys have this. This should be the Spuds alternate. You could have the Block M. That's fine. But you know what? For homecoming, or when they win the state championship tonight and can celebrate it next year when Edina comes to town, this is what the logo should be. We're putting this up in the studio. This is fantastic. All right, we're due for a break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Get you ready for the Minnesota 9-man championship tomorrow with Hillcrest Lutheran head coach Korey Fry. Coming up when we come back.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 ready to roll here on this Football Friday. We got NFL picks coming up in about a half hour. Looking forward to that. So we've heard from Breckenridge. We've heard from Moorhead. There is one other team in our viewing area that's playing for a Minnesota State football championship. That's tomorrow morning in the 9-man game at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Hillcrest Lutheran will take on Hills Beaver Creek to start the day inside U.S. Bank Stadium. It's our pleasure to have the head coach of the Comets, Korey Fry, join us here on this Friday morning before they head down to Minneapolis later today. Coach, thanks so much for doing this. Just tell me the mood here of getting ready to go down, and you're playing tomorrow for the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the mood just around the community and within our campus is just pure excitement and joy. We have a lot of people that are thrilled to just be a part of this ride. I was in Walmart the other day and really just needed to grab 2 things, and it should have took me maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and it turned around to be an hour visit. And all I did was talk with people within the community who was excited about our journey.
This almost didn't happen a couple weeks ago. I have to go back to that quarterfinal game the way you won it. Tell me, just take us through that and how getting a 2-point stop to win the game. I mean, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, these last couple of weeks have been a true test, and just showing how good our state really is within 9-man football. So that game against Mabel Canton, both teams were rolling offensively. It was one of those days where both teams' defenses were playing tough, playing very physical, but the offense was just a step ahead on both sides, and so the game came down to that last play. Mabel Canton went back to their bread and butter, which we hadn't stopped all day, just on that quarterback keep straight up the middle. They were averaging about 5 to 6 yards each time. But what ended up happening on that play was our nose, Dane Larby, made a phenomenal play, and he was able to get rid of the center and be able to get his hands on the quarterback very quickly. And then we had quite a few guys able to rally around that and make the stop. Yeah, and those are one of those things where you just you only can like dream of situations like that. You definitely don't practice all those moments like that, but when it happens, you need your players to be big time players.
What was your reaction when you saw the play?
It was tough. I went from excited to nervous to all the above. I went jumping for joy with the team, and then I quickly went and sat down just because I needed to gather myself in that moment.
What was I got to imagine? Last thing on that, the bus ride home. What was that like, man? I can't imagine.
Yeah, the guys were ecstatic. Even in the locker room, it was tough getting our guys out. You tell your guys, hey, we got to be here for 20, 30 minutes, and we got to get out. And next thing you know, guys are still in the locker room talking, jumping for joy, everything. And so, but our guys were really happy, fortunate. The game fell in our hands that way, because granted that game could have went another few overtimes, just the way both offenses were going.
Now that was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your real first close game of the season. So then you had another one last week. How much did, I guess, that one, the one over Mabel Canton, get you ready for what happened with Kitson County Central last week?
I guess it was big. I also go back a few more weeks, playing Border West in a Fargo Dome. Yeah. That really taught us a lot. I think Border West has been one of the premier teams, especially in our conference, our section, and we've learned a lot from playing them throughout the years, and it prepped us for being able to play situational football. And then to go play that close game with Mabel Canton the next week, it really helped us. But then it prepared us for games like Kitson County. Kitson was one of those teams where traditionally very run focused, and they did some things in that game that really surprised us as far as how they passed it and what they were trying to do out of that. But it was one of those games where I think we were very prepared from the 2 weeks prior, just from preparation and knowing what we were going to get into.
I was talking with a couple of the coaches of teams that played down there last week at US Bank Stadium. How hot was it? And did the dome get you ready for what you experienced last week at US Bank Stadium?
Yeah, it is definitely different, especially right now when you're practicing outside in 30-degree weather, and then you turn around and you're playing in a controlled environment at 60, 70 degrees. It is definitely different. And so we talk to our guys a lot about hydration, making sure they're taking care of their bodies through the week, so that way come Thursday nights or Friday nights, and in this case, Saturday morning, we're ready to go right away. And that's huge. Hydration is key, especially when you get in these types of atmosphere.
All right, the team you're playing, Hills Beaver Creek, has been one of the 9-man standard bearers. They were runner-up last year. They have that experience. What kind of buzzsaw are you running into here tomorrow?
Very good team, very well coached. They will give you a lot of motion. what we call as coaches a lot of eye candy to try to get you thinking and looking in different directions. And the biggest thing is, it's easy for me to say it here talking to you on the show. We have to try to limit their big plays and force them to have to try to slow grind it out and different things. And we hope to be able to keep them packed in the box. And hopefully we can take advantage of that.
Playing the first game out of the chute. You're not sitting around waiting tomorrow. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have a little bit of time before you get out there and go?
It's different both ways. Playing in the Fargo Dome, we were the first game of the day there. It was really nice to be able to have the guys get out and walk on the field and move around. But then when you think about it, you're sitting there for an hour and a half, 2 hours waiting for the game. And then this last week playing at US Bank, we were the second to last game. And then you're kind of watching all the other games and you're itching to just be out there. And then it's the time you go to the locker room, you change, and then you're on the field ready to go. So I think when you get to this point, it's just basically managing time correctly and being able to get out there.
Now, for your guys, did you, or even yourself, did you have a little looking around? Did you do that last week? Did you notice that at all?
Yeah, a lot of our guys was really happy that we actually had that time to just tour the stadium and see a lot of different things. I think what really got our team was when we were at the loading dock and you see all these semis coming in, and none of them are your bus with your equipment. It's all equipment and supplies coming in for the Vikings-Bears game. That was Sunday night. So, yeah, and it's different. So, but it was a moment that we were able to take in and enjoy.
Now to have this again tomorrow, how special is this for you to say, okay, there's no more games. You had your last practice yesterday. We've taken this as far as we can go. Yeah,
and that was one of the message that we sent out. We told our seniors, and I don't even know if it really hit our seniors, saying, hey, this truly is the last time you will step foot on this field in these comic colors. And so a lot of our guys did get emotional about it. Some of them sat around after practice a little bit just to kind of take in the sights and different things. And that's a special moment, when you're around the game of football so long and different things. Nothing quite matches Friday Night Lights. Even if you go on and play at higher levels and different things, like when you're playing at a home field like that in high school, it's just a different feeling. So we wanted our guys to really take it in and embrace it.
You have a couple members of your staff that were on the last Hillcrest team that won it in 2001. How big a deal is that for these guys that are now living this and with your current team?
Yeah, Coach J.P. Stender and Coach Steve Moline, both were on that 2001 team. They talk about it a lot. It's one of those things that they're very prideful about. And just talking about the process that they were able to go through with their team. They talk about how passionate Coach Risbrut was at that time and just leading them not only in faith, but just leading them in like manhood and all those things that they learned through that process of a state title team. And those are qualities that still to this day that we put into our program.
How much you feeding off the vibes here? Breckenridge is right down the road from you guys. There's a ton of Spuds fans that, hey, we can all be together here and try to do something for the area.
Yeah, well, it would be nice if we all could go in together on bus fees and travel. No, I think it's really, really great. I was asked that question a couple of days ago. I think it's just shows the quality of coaches that are within this the western part of the state, or West Central, whichever way you want to call it. But I think we all are true students of the game and really are able to teach our young men what development looks like, what trusting in the philosophy and programs truly are. I think it's truly remarkable seeing what Breck has done, seeing what Moorhead has done. Barnesville even had a really good ride. Fergus here in town, they made it to the state quarterfinals. So football in this area is at its peak right now. Like it is a fun time to be around this area for high school football.
Couple minutes left here with Korey. You mentioned the story about you going to Walmart. What has the buzz been like? Has it been steadily building, the last 3 weeks with you guys winning each week?
Yeah. It's one of those things where everybody wants to be a part of the ride. And that's a good thing. There's nothing like having fans support you, having people stop you and talk about when they were in high school 20, 30, 40 years ago, and the different things. I enjoy those things because I look at it as history lessons that we can bring within our program and tell our players about so they understand what they're doing. Doesn't come too often for some programs, and for them to just take it in.
Last thing, I know we were talking before we came on the air about the send-off. What's the grand send-off plan for you guys later today?
Yes, so it's really fun. Usually all the moms, they do like a little skit where they act out each of their son's position and play. So
no kidding.
It's pretty funny. But then they also create little gift bags for all the players, coaches, and everything. And then we do like a small pep rally, and then we take off, which is really nice. It allows us to really see everybody excited about our journey. Police and fire department are usually in on it too, so it's nice having that escort back into town and then out of town as well.
Is this a restless night of sleep, or you think you'll sleep well tonight?
Usually I struggle to get to sleep the nights before. I usually take a walk down the road or something, or I usually is whatever's on Sports Center I kind of watch and try to doze off to that. Yeah. But I am very sure tonight will be a tough night to fall asleep.
I really appreciate you doing this on a busy day. Thanks so much. Travel safe and good luck tomorrow morning, okay?
Yep, I appreciate it.
Korey Fry joining us, head coach of Hillcrest Lutheran. The Comets play tomorrow in the 9-man championship game inside U.S. Bank Stadium, 10 a.m. for that one against Hills Beaver Creek. They were the runners-up last year in Minnesota 9-man, and that will be the first of 3 games tomorrow. Of course, the first of 4 is underway. When we come back, we'll get you an update on the Breckenridge game with Minneota. That's just getting underway for the Class A championship, the first of 4 inside U.S. Bank Stadium. We'll take a break. Hot Mic rolls on our Football Friday edition. We're back right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, thanks to Korey Fry for giving us a few minutes. That was good stuff. Updating the first game, Breckenridge and Minneota underway. The Cowboys, our guy Sam Herder is there. Of course, his dad has been on the staff at Breck for 30-plus years. They just got a pick, and they are inside the Viking red zone, which has never been a good thing for J.J. McCarthy. But we'll see if Breck can capitalize with about 2 minutes to go in the first quarter of the Class A championship. That's the first game today. Later today, the 4A championship is going to be played. And typically, that doesn't really bring a lot of bells around here, but there are a lot of interested parties in that game. Jackson County Central is going to play in that one against Goodhue in the 4A championship game. Why bring that up? Well, if you've not had a chance, do I have the right? No, it's 5A. Is it 5A? No. 2A. Sorry. 2A championship game. Why I bring that up is because Jackson County Central is in that game. And that's where Roman Voss goes to school. And Roman's going to be signing with the University of Minnesota next month, who is considered the number one high school prospect in the state. They'll play Goodhue. Goodhue got by Holdingford. Jackson County Central got a win over Eden Valley Watkins. in their semifinals. That has been Barnesville and Caledonia's domain for the longest time, so it's kind of shocking not to see either one of those schools playing in it. So if you're a college football recruiting nerd like myself, there's a few names or teams to watch. Obviously, that game is later today. That's right before the Spuds game is the 2A championship at 4 o'clock before the 6A game, and we've given you all the details on that. The 3A championship tomorrow will feature Waseca is playing in that against Annandale. That's tomorrow at 1, right after the 9-man game. Waseca has a North Dakota State commit on its roster. We featured him on a Monday after they beat DGF. That's Deron Russell, who might be one of the best basketball players in the state as well. He's going to play corner at NDSU. He is a phenomenal football player. So if you're, serving the dial tomorrow, or you got many tablets running on, if you're going to have the UND SDSU game on, you're going to be watching the Bison game, that game going on as well tomorrow. So those are just a couple of names to be on the lookout for if you're checking out. The Chanhassen game, the 5A championship, is the last one tomorrow. They play that at 4 o'clock to be the final game of the season. Chanhassen's going to play Spring Lake Park. There's some dynamite players in that matchup as well. And that'll wrap up the high school football season for Minnesota for 2025. Kind of crazy to say that. Breck just scored a touchdown. There we go, Cowboys. Let's get a couple emails in here before we break. And special segment, my sister is going to do picks this week because my dad had some plans today. Let's go. We're going back here to asking about the Prep Bowl. Dom, you can stream the Minnesota Prep Bowl and all the other state tournaments on Prep 45. Click on the computer tab or the antenna TV, as you mentioned, on Hot Mic. I'll be watching Breckenridge and Moorhead later. I watch Hot Mic, the Bison Coaches Press Conference, live on WDAY Plus and Bison games on ESPN Plus via Hulu. Keep up the good work. I watch November and April from Palm Harbor, Florida. Lucky. Divide my time from late April to November between Otter Tail Lake and Egan. I also like your show from Wapaton to Breckenridge. I graduated from Wapaton way back in 1980. My mom lived there until January of 2025 and sold her home there in June. Been a Bison fan my whole life and like the product WDAY delivers consistently. Well, we appreciate that. We're doing our best. This week is a bit of a stretch for all of us, considering we've had 2 basketball games. We got a third tonight, and we got a bunch of people in Bismarck right now with the state volleyball tournament. You said the first semifinal is done. Our Redeemers won that one. Is that what? Or Medina? Our Redeemers won that. So they are moving on to the Class B, or Medina won. So they're moving on to the Class B championship game tomorrow. The second semifinal will be coming up at 11 on WDAY2. So if you're looking for those games, that's where you can find those. Here we go, back to our earlier topic. Dom, 10 years ago, I would have disagreed with you with your Spud hockey title versus football title take. But the dynamics of football in Minnesota have changed so much that when you look at the rosters of the teams in 6A you're competing with, Power 4 level guys across the board. And in football, you need a lot of them to compete. Moorhead has always had a few of those guys here and there, but to have your offensive and defensive lines hold up, especially when you're playing far more two-way players than your opponent, what Moorhead has achieved here is incredible. Boom. That's probably said well more said than I could. That's to my point. I get how popular hockey is. I understand. We celebrated it when they won in March. It's a huge. I'm not taking anything away from John Ammerman and his team. That was long suffering there that they had been there, and frankly nearly got beat in the opening round and got over the hump and won the thing. But this is there's so more people that play football. First off, I get it. Maybe the pool is bigger, but in this level, you got to have some absolute studs to win. Look at Edina. Edina's got an NHL player as their quarterback, right? The team that the Spuds beat, Lakeville South, has, I believe, 4 or 5 Division I players on its roster. Maple Grove, its entire team, is going to play college football. When we get to signing day in a couple weeks, right? Let's remark how many Maple Grove guys are signing. Last year, Maple Grove had 7. 3 of them are playing in Fargo. 4 of them are in Grand Forks. All right? That's bare bones on what we're talking about here. Minnetonka. Minnetonka has the player of the year. He's going to Iowa State. Caleb Francois, their running back. Pretty darn good. That's who Edina beat last week to get. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I get it, and McFeely and I have talked about this several times, that they have the moniker of the state of hockey. Okay, that's great. Frankly, it's the state of basketball, because the amount of basketball talent that's in Minnesota is outrageous. When Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky are regularly coming to games, and we've seen that, whether it be Chet Holmgren or Jalen Suggs, you name it, the guys that have been consistently been produced out of the Twin Cities. And then look at the football guys that Notre Dame, Ohio State have consistently gone in the Wisconsin when they were good, Iowa when they've consistently gone in and gotten guys out of the Twin Cities. And now they're coming this way. Now they're coming all the way up here. Again, I'm not anti-hockey. I love it. I'm just telling you, if this happens tonight, I think it's a bigger deal. I really do. We'll see. It's going to be a heck of a challenge against the guy that's going to be playing in the NHL probably in the not-too-distant future. All right, we'll break. When we come back, we'll do some NFL picks. This week, my sis is going to join us. My sister Stephanie will be coming up to deliver some red-hot NFL picks to wrap up our show. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We're back after this. Kill me on this intro. Look at that hair. Look at that coat. I wish I still had that Mets coat. Special Friday appearance. Normally, Pops occupies the 10:35 window on a Friday, but apparently he's unavailable. He's a big deal. So my sister Stephanie is good enough to join us here. I was just told we had to get some sort of dinosaur in the shot. We don't have that. We do have this. I don't know if you saw this earlier, that the Jackman colored this. It's a big night. The Spuds are playing for the state football championship. So
that's awesome.
We got Spuddy here playing tonight. So it's a big deal.
I'll take that over a dinosaur any day.
What's going on? How are you?
Things are good.
Is this your office?
This is my office.
I mean, that's a big time. You got a window and everything.
Yeah, well, pretty important here.
You're a big deal.
Pretty important.
Yeah.
I won't show you exactly how small the office is, but I got a window, and that's all that matters.
Do you have a door?
I do.
Wow, you are a big deal.
Every day at 4:30.
Wow, I didn't know. That's pretty cool. All right.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? How's my niece doing?
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Been in kindergarten
She's
now.
dominating kindergarten, right?
She loves every second of it. So had a talk with her teacher. Sometimes she's just kind of out there and she has to reel her back in, but she's not disruptive. She's just kind of looking around and we had a talk and she said everything's good.
Yeah.
So
all right.
she told me she's reading at the top of her class.
There we go.
Just
all
learning
right.
how to read. So
Nice.
which is not great when she leans over my shoulder and reads text messages. Now I have to be extra careful.
Yeah.
She's like, "Why'd you write? Oh no."
Yeah. Well,
like,
wait till you got to turn the TV off. Jackman now can't watch. Like, we got to turn the news off because, like, what's going on? Like, no, we're not going down that road.
Well,
no.
Remember, Soph grew up with Mom and Graham, watching, Young and the Restless and Inside Edition. So the news is. The other day, I asked her what she wanted to watch. She's like, the news. And I'm like, okay. And then, what did she ask Cole the other day? Cole's like, do you want to watch anything? She's like, ESPN.
There we are. All
I'll
right.
take this. No. We're in full Christmas mode now.
Oh, yes.
So
yeah.
it's Christmas all the time.
All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. It's about that time. With do you have your tree up?
Of course.
Oh my God, that's way.
I didn't
what
decorate
are you
it.
doing?
I didn't decorate it. Our mother did because she's kind enough to do that for me. But it is up.
All right. You have stepped in to deliver. I don't know how you did last year on this.
I don't know either.
Eric normally keeps track. I don't know if he kept track of this of last year. So it was last year that you did this. So you're stepping in with a pretty busy week here. We got there's some games that could be tricky. There's some other ones that are slam dunks, but is anything I know we have our own eliminator going on here at work. I don't know if you. I'm not eligible to be in it. Jack won the first one. He beat.
I know, he told me
10 people here, and he got a gift card to Shields. Right.
I remember he told me. He was very excited.
So we started another one, but this time I put up my own PTO in it. So it's a big deal. We're down. Yeah. Yeah.
I would never.
Well, I can't earn any more until I get rid of it. So we're gonna do that. So we're how many are we down to? 2? How many do we have left here? We got 2 people left in that one. So
I went quick.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. Picking winners is hard. So you got the chore here today. All right.
Yeah.
You ready to roll?
I'll do what I can.
All right. Well, let's start.
Wait, does this get added to Dad's total, or is his separate?
It will definitely sync his total because you share the same last name on
Christmas
that.
Christmas is coming. I can't do that to him.
All right. Well, let's start it off.
All right.
His Steelers at the Bears. You are contractually obligated to pick Pittsburgh here.
Am I?
Well, that's what he tells. Chicago, though, is a favorite. And Aaron Rodgers is hurt.
I'll have to break the news to him, but I'm going with Chicago.
Oh, he'll love that. Bears minus 2.5. The New York Football Jets are playing the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. They have changed their quarterback. They're going with Tyrod Taylor. Justin Fields got benched. The Ravens are red hot. They've won 4 in a row with Lamar Jackson back. They're a 13.5 points on my Jets.
You know, changing up to Tyrod Taylor gave me pause for about half a second. But we're going with Baltimore.
Yeah, you really thought that one over, huh?
It was tough. Even Sophie knew better.
She picked the Jets. She'll never pick against her uncle.
She likes the color green.
Yes, there you go. The Patriots are 9-2. They're at the Bengals. Do we know, is Joe Burrow playing? I know he's practicing. I don't know if he's playing in the game.
It's foolish if they put
he's
him
not
in.
playing yet. Maybe next week. New England's a 6-point favorite over Cincinnati.
Going New England.
Patriots minus 6. This is no fun. You're taking all the favorites here. Come on.
But you have to understand, my boss is a Patriots fan, and he's in the office right next door, and he's like, you better take the Patriots. So.
Well, the next one is fantastic because your husband is a diehard Giants fan. At the Lions, Detroit is given 10 here.
This has been a roller coaster season for my husband. There's been some hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then who's Sophie's favorite player?
Scadaboo is her favorite player.
Oh, love saying it. I think more than anything.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I really like Detroit anyway, so I'm going with Detroit.
Okay, that's it. I
have half their team on my fantasy football team, so in both leagues that I'm in.
Good luck in explaining that one tonight. That's all I knew. Vikings and the Packers is a slightly big game in this part of the world. J.J. McCarthy can't stop throwing to the wrong team. The Packers, though, stink at home. They've lost their last couple. Green Bay is a 6-point favorite at Lambeau on Sunday.
I'm going to count on Minnesota not winning this game and go with the Packers.
All favorites so far. Green Bay minus 6 on that one. The Seahawks are at the Titans. Holy cow. The early games stink here on Sunday. Seattle's a 13.5-point favorite against the 1-win Titans.
I think it'd be foolish to pick the Titans. I'm going with Seattle.
Yeah, that's a lot of points even. Seattle, though, is coming off a loss last week to the Rams. The Colts are at the Chiefs. This is a good one. Kansas City all of a sudden is 5-5. The Colts are 8-2, and yet Kansas City is a favorite. They're minus 3.5 to the Colts.
I have no faith in Danny Dimes. So, none.
You've been burned too much by Daniel Jones?
Not me personally, but my household.
Yeah.
So we're going with Kansas City.
Wow.
Which I really don't want to do.
Yeah. But. All right. Kansas City minus 3.5 there. All right. To the late games. Oh, my God. Browns Raiders. I guess somebody has to win. Vegas is a 4-point favorite at home. Now, you've been to Vegas more than I have. Where are they building the baseball stadium?
That I don't know. I don't have good context because I spent a lot of time actually in the casinos and not outside. So I'm not really sure, but I feel like it's near where the Raiders play, but I don't know.
We were there. I don't know where in the world they're going to put a baseball stadium.
I'm going back.
Are you?
Before March because Wizard of Oz is at the Sphere.
Oh, yes.
I'll check it out and I'll report back.
All right. How about for this game? What do we got?
I'm taking the Raiders.
Raiders -4 against Shedeur Sanders making his first start.
Sure.
Ironically enough, Eric and I interviewed Shedeur Sanders in Vegas when we were there for the Big 12 Media Days last year.
Confident about that start?
No.
Yeah.
No. Jacksonville and Arizona. The Jags are a 3-point favorite. Jacksonville is in a playoff spot right now at 6-4.
Do you remember the Jacksonville starter jacket?
Yes.
The teal.
That was the teal. Well,
the gold.
So teal was the popular color of the mid '90s because the Charlotte Hornets had it. Jacksonville had it. It was the thing for professional sports teams.
The teal and the gold.
That
really
was a badass jacket. That was really cool.
Yep, I'm taking Jacksonville.
What happened to that jacket? Do we know?
Who knows? But I had all the matching coordinates as well. I had the hat, the scarf, the gloves, thanks to our grandparents. But
the Hornets coat, I think, is still at Dad's house. I'm almost positive it's still there.
Is a picture of prepubescent you wearing that Charlotte Hornets jacket.
It's fantastic.
So,
find that. Send that out. People would love to see that. Oh, I love that coat. All right, Eagles and the Cowboys. Eagles are wearing their old Kelly Green. Speaking of old, they're wearing the Kelly Green jerseys on the road against Dallas. They're a 3.5-point favorite. Come on, you haven't picked one underdog. You got to do it.
I don't think I'm picking one here. I have no faith in Dallas. I'm going with Philly.
Does your husband even acknowledge the Eagles exist?
There was a glimmer where he did. I don't know. He's trying to be better about that. We've had discussions. So.
The Falcons and the Saints. Two teams going nowhere. Kirk Cousins is starting for the Falcons because Michael Penix is done. New Orleans is a 2.5-point favorite somehow in this game.
Going Atlanta.
All right. There we go. Atlanta plus the points, plus 2.5. Eric, who's starting for the Saints? I don't even know who's the quarterback for. I thought he got benched. Is it Tyler Shuck? I don't even know. Sunday night, pretty good. Tampa Bay at the Rams. The Rams are in the driver's seat in the NFC North. They are a 7-point favorite at home. Dad loves Baker Mayfield. So.
I do too. And Dad used to hate him.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Those commercials?
Yes.
I know the turnaround there, but I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
All right. Tampa Bay plus 7 in that. Monday Night Football suddenly is not that bad of a game. Panthers at the 49ers. San Francisco with Brock Purdy back as a 7-point favorite on Monday night.
I'm going to go Carolina.
Oh, Carolina plus 7. Okay. All righty. There you go. You finally took some underdogs to wrap it up.
Well,
that's what we like.
Because of it's personnel on the team that I'm using, not necessarily.
The Bison are given 33.5 tomorrow. Would you take that?
I'll take the Bison. Absolutely.
Wow. All right. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think we're going to have a close game there. Before we go, you're a big Wizard of Oz Rube. The reviews are not good on the Wicked sequel. Have you heard?
I did hear. I'm supposed to go tomorrow.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm still excited about it.
Did you like the first one?
Loved the first
one. Love the first one. All right. I'm just telling you, the reviews are not great right now.
I know.
All right.
What are you going to do?
All right. We got to go. Thanks for filling in.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Have a blast of a weekend. And I love you. And we'll talk next week. Okay.
All right. Love you too, brother.
There she goes. That's my sis doing our NFL picks to wrap up the week. We'll come back. We'll get you ready for a great sports weekend and send you out the door. Get an update from down at US Bank Stadium as well. Hot Mike will wrap on a Friday morning right after this. All right, putting the finishing touches here on a busy week. Looking forward to the weekend. When we're back with you on Monday, we will know the field of 24. We will break it down in full. Looking forward to Monday's show. We'll parse through all the brackets here. And, of course, we'll recap what goes down at U.S. Bank Stadium this weekend. Currently, Minneota with a 14-7 lead on Breckenridge in the Class A game. And, of course, the AA championship coming up tonight, or the 6A championship coming up tonight, and then the 9-man tomorrow. Let's, real quick, for viewers that missed it earlier, just again, this is a reminder for how you can watch the games tonight or tomorrow. It's exclusively on KSTC out of the Twin Cities, so you can watch it over the air on Antenna TV here locally in our area. That's 15-2. If you're watching us on the Antenna at 6-3, we're on Extra. That's where you can find Antenna TV. Locally, it's on channel 595 on Midco or 41 on Sparklight. If you have DirecTV or Dish, you're out of luck on that. But you can stream the games as well. I was just streaming on their app. It's really slick, folks. It looks great, just like our stuff does. So you can check it out there. But that's where you can find the games. I know we're going to get a bunch more calls as the day goes on for people looking to find the Spuds game tonight. But that's where you can watch it. So we're trying to get out in front of it as best we can to let people know what's going on with that. So that's where you can check out the Prep Bowl games inside U.S. Bank Stadium. All right, before we do what to watch, the Eliminator Challenge is still going. Let's see who's picking what. That's Hopper's best work. I know he's done a lot of good. That's the best work he's done. All right, we are down to 2 here. We went down in flames last week. Kyle and Justin both took the Vikings. What are we doing? That didn't work out. Brody took the Chargers, and they lost by $1 billion to Jacksonville. So that leaves Eric and Sam left here in the Eliminator Challenge. And who we got? You're going with the Ravens. Who are they playing again? They're playing my Jets, aren't they? You're tempting fate. Yeah. You're tempting fate.
The Jets stink.
They're not very good, but we're due.
I need the Titans to win some games so I can win a bet with the Jets' most losses in the NFL. So
I don't know if I'd win. You're going to win that one. And Sam's going with the Patriots as they're taking on the – that's a risky one for Sam as they're taking on the Bengals. So we'll see who survives on that coming up on Monday. We got a bunch to do. Should we get what to watch going now? Let's do it here before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch is brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Okay, so day 2 of the state volleyball tournament already underway. The first Class B semifinal is in the books. If you're looking to watch it, the second semifinal is coming up on WDAY2 at the top of the hour, and they'll have all the semis today. So if you're looking for Class A, that starts at 1, and then the AA semifinals are at 5 o'clock. Ryan McNamara is going to guide you home the rest of the way from 1 o'clock on, and then he'll be on the call of the championship matches. They start tomorrow at 3 on WDAY2 with Class B first, then A, and then AA to wrap it up at 8 o'clock. It'll be a long couple days for our crew out in Bismarck, out at the event center, but that's going on right now. All the consolation matches as well, you can stream those on WDAY+. You can look for that there. Also tonight, we've got North Dakota State women's basketball. Jory Collins' crew hosting Tulane out of the American Athletic Conference. This is going to be a good game tonight. 7 o'clock here on WDAY Extra. Last time we're going to see the Bison women at home for about 2 weeks before they head out on the road. They're heading to Florida next week for Thanksgiving. So that's coming up tonight. Myself and Amy Rulli on the call of that one. Also tonight, the Wolves are back in the NBA Cup. Game number 3 against the Suns at 8 o'clock. The Wild are on the road to take on Sidney Crosby and the Penguins at 6 o'clock. Both those games on FanDuel Sports North. Pretty good women's basketball game tonight. Michigan and Connecticut, 7 o'clock on Fox. Those two teams, I believe, are ranked 1 and 6 in the country in women's basketball. Tomorrow, don't forget, of course, we've got Bison Game Day to get you started at 10 a.m. from inside the Fargo Dome. Then the game at 2:20 with the senior introductions, and then we play football just after 2:30. Our final broadcast of the year. Should be a good one. St. Thomas and North Dakota State. Of course, all the NFL games this weekend. Packers-Vikes doesn't get any bigger around here with a noon kickoff. That's on Fox. We mentioned the Sunday night game between the Bucs and And you're gone anyway next week between the Bucs and the Rams coming up on Sunday night. And then the rest of the weekend we mentioned the game tomorrow, Harvard and Yale, the longest played rivalry, 11 a.m. on ESPNU tomorrow. The selection show is on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. on ESPNU. And, of course, the Vikes and the Packers coming up at noon on Fox. We got to go. Thanks to our guests today, to Angie Lance, to Korey Fry, to my sister, Stephanie Hudson. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tonight at Hoops and at the Dome tomorrow.